Hi everyone, I'm Andrea and this is Knowing Yoga. This is Simon, our little yoga cat, and today I am bringing you the 7th class in our beginning yoga series. So today's class is all about finding balance. Yoga is amazing because it really lets us tune into ourselves, get to know ourselves intimately or in a different way, and allows us to find areas of imbalance in our body, in our mind, in our spirit. So that's kind of what we're striving for today. In our life, we're always looking for balance between work and play and energy expended versus time resting, or between logic and emotion. So there's a lot of times when things can get imbalanced and we just need to check in and bring it back in. And that is where yoga comes in, because on the mat we can find our balance, tune into ourselves, recognize where we need to make adjustments to kind of feel our equilibrium again. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start with a grounding exercise and then move into some postures to find balance physically. And then we'll end with a guided meditation to help you kind of find balance off the mat as you continue on your day. So let's get started. All right, yogis, to start, we are going to come into our easy pose. So listening to your body, let's just find your easy pose. It might be crisscross, it may be one leg up, it may be legs extended out in front of you, leaning back on a wall behind you, whatever feels good for you. We're gonna just kind of come into our posture and find some comfort and strength, and just kind of close your eyes if that feels good for you. And take a couple of really deep breaths. If your eyes aren't closed, feel free to lower your gaze towards the floor. Breathing deep into our belly and exhaling fully and slowly. Nice long exhale here. And now with the eyes closed or gaze drawn down, we're just going to kind of go inside and see if we can find some balance in the sitting posture. So for the moment, I want you to intentionally lean towards the left slightly, feeling the shift of weight moving into the left sits bone. And as your belly draws in and we sit up tall, we really feel that left sits bone anchoring into the earth. Just notice any sensations there. And now we're going to head on over to the other side. So slowly and gently shifting the weight, leaning towards the right, feeling the weight center on the right sits bone. Just a slight lean, it doesn't have to be very far here. And noticing that grounding sensation between the right sits bone and the earth, the mat, the blanket, whatever you're on. And then nice and slow with your eyes closed or your eye gaze drawn, gently shift back to center, trying to find balance between those two sits bones where the weight is distributed evenly among them. Really grounding into the earth through the sits bones, lifting up through the crown of the head. And when you feel like you've found your center and you're balanced here, slowly open your eyes. All right, that is our intro to finding our balance here in these postures. So let's continue. Let's start with just some movement with the breath. So arms out to the side. We're going to inhale, arms up high, breathing deep into the bottoms of the lungs, reaching up overhead, and then exhaling slowly, arms fall down, eye gaze can come down. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Great job. Let's do one more. Filling up the lungs completely. Exhaling, belly pulls into spine, pressing all the air out of the lungs. And then lift the head back to center. All right, so now we're gonna move into our tabletop. So I'm gonna have my blanket under my knees today, just for a little added cushion and support. If that feels good for you, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. So we're gonna come into our tabletop, find your foundation here, pressing in through the the fingertips and the mounds of the fingers, and then pressing the tops of the feet into the earth. Belly button pulls into the spine, and just here, pressing out of the shoulders, lifting away from the ground. Taking a couple of breaths. All right. Once you feel strong in your foundation, you're widening the shoulder blades away from each other. The shoulders are pulling towards the hips slightly, and then our inner elbows are facing forward as much as we can comfortably, just to protect those shoulders. We're gonna start here by pressing the right foot back, pointing the toes. Now engaging the core, so belly button pulls into the spine. Tighten the legs, almost like you're pulling the inner thighs towards each other. And then if you feel good here and you want to explore a little bit or play, begin to lift those right toes off the ground, no higher than hip height there. So just kind of playing around with it. Maybe you just lift an inch, maybe lift all the way up. Hi, Simon. And then continuing to breathe here. Hey, buddy. And then pressing all fours back into the earth. Let's switch sides. So now that left leg comes back. Extending through the legs, pressing out of the shoulders away from the floor, widening the collarbones, pulling the elbow points, the inner elbows forward, and then belly pulls into the spine, extending the tailbone away from the crown of the head, and then engaging the legs. Begin to lift that left foot. You can flex the toes if that feels good, just to whatever height you like. Finding some balance here. Notice the gentle shifting of weight between the hands, the arms, the hips. Trying to keep those hips square and level to the floor. Take a deep breath here and then slowly lower. Awesome. From here, we're going to sit back and do a couple of little wrist warm-ups, circling one way and then the other. Maybe give yourself a big stretch. And then let's come back into our tabletop and see if we can find a little more balance here, exploring, playing just a little bit, listening to your body. So from our tabletop, let's take the right leg back. Point the toes, engage the legs, pull the inner thighs towards each other isometrically. Belly button pulls in. And then as you're lifting out of the shoulders, begin to lift that left hand forward. Noticing what has to come into play here to help you find balance. Breathing in and out slowly. And then you can begin to play, shifting the weight and lifting the right leg maybe. All right, coming on down. Let's switch sides. Find your foundation here. Fingertips pressing in, tops of the feet pressing in. Belly pulls in, shoulder blades widen. Deep breath. Left leg goes back. Engage the leg. Squeeze the muscles to the bone. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. And begin to lift. And then, either with the leg lifted or on the floor, lift that right hand forward. And you can come out of this and back into it. We're just kind of playing. Noticing what we need, where we need it to find that balance. Belly's pulling in, and then we come back down to all fours, and then we're going to shift back just for a second. Another big inhale up, Stretching, exhale, lower the arms. Awesome. And now, from here, you can keep the blanket or not, coming back into our tabletop. We are gonna play on our sides a little bit in side plank and engaging the obliques too. So from here, let's shift the weight into the right knee, the right hand. Let's take the right foot and bring it behind us about at a 45-degree angle. Take the left foot and put it behind in line with the right knee and the right wrist. And begin to lift that left arm up, hand to hip. Taking a couple of deep breaths here, just finding your balance. Again, lifting out of the shoulder, that elbow crease folding towards the front, and just kind of find your balance here. If that feels good, you can begin to engage all the muscles in the body, belly button pulls into the spine, and play around lifting that foot up just a little bit, or maybe a little bit higher, no higher than hip height. Just kind of playing here, finding what it takes to find your balance, extending along this right side of the body, keeping it long, and then exhale, lower back down to all fours. We're gonna switch sides, so weight shifts into the left hand, left knee. Let's take the left foot, put it behind us at about a 45-degree angle, and then moving that right heel in line with the right knee, left knee, left wrist, and then lifting hand to hip, extending from the crown of the head through the heel. Just finding some play here, some balance. Maybe opening that right hip up towards the ceiling a little bit more. And then if you like, play around with lifting that foot. We're really lifting out of the shoulder, extending the side body. Belly's pulled into the spine. Can even lift it up higher if you like, wherever you're at. Can play around with balance a little bit more, lifting the arm up, and then slowly coming back down to all fours. And now we're gonna come back into our child's pose. So whatever child's pose works for you, bolster, blanket between hips and heels, and then extending the arms. Forehead can come to the mat or to the block. And just breathing deeply here. Long exhale out. You guys are doing awesome. Let's walk the hands back and roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Head coming up last. All right, and we're gonna make our way to standing from here. So from our tabletop, you can bring blocks in if that feels helpful or good. And then we're gonna take one foot forward and then the other, coming into our forward fold. So today's class, finding balance, it's a little bit playful, right? It's always kind of a trial and error, experimenting, and then using some intention to find what feels best. All right, let's bring the hands to hips, belly button pulls into the spine. Inhale up with a flat back, pressing the feet into the earth, lifting the crown of the head to the ceiling. Exhale, hands down to the side. All right, so let's come into our mountain posture. We are going to kind of play around in some standing balancing poses. So coming into your mountain pose, feeling the four corners of your feet, big toe, little toe, back two corners of the heels, inner thighs engaged towards each other, belly button pulls in, and deep breath in and out. All right, from here, we are going to put a slight bend in the right knee and shift the weight over to the right leg. So plugging down the right big toe, that mound of the big toe, and then tightening the muscles to the bone, squeezing it up as we straighten the right leg. We don't lock it out, straighten it, just a micro bend in that leg. Hands to hips. Pull the belly button into the spine and just begin to bring the left leg up. So you can stop and pause here with just the left toes on the ground. And then really plugging that right big toe into the earth, squeezing the inner thighs towards each other isometrically, belly pulls in. We're going to start lifting that left leg up, maybe to a 90-degree angle. We're going to watch our hips. Maybe our toes are way down here. We're just going to keep our hips in balance. So making sure we're not tilting one way or the other. All right, and then find your balance again. Plug that big toe in. Pull the belly button in. And then exhale, release with control. Deep breath in and out. Find your mountain here. Let's go to the other side. So begin to shift the weight into the left leg. So bend in the left knee. Squeeze the muscles to the bone as you straighten the leg. Plug the left big toe into the ground with the four corners of the feet. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. And then slowly lift the right leg to where just the big toe is on the ground. And as you get comfortable here, beginning to lift it up. Lift it up and down if that feels good. If you fall out, don't worry, just come right back into it. And then if you're lifting it up a little bit higher and your toes off the ground, flex those toes towards the face and then bring the knee up to hip height if you can. And again, check in with your hips. We don't want to be sassy with the hips in or out. We're just trying to find that balance, all right? Even hips. Belly pulls in. Exhale, release slowly. Awesome. This can be playful. There's no judgment. We're just learning. We're finding our balance. Okay. So let's bring the feet together in this last balancing posture. So again, find the four corners of your feet. Big toe, little toe, back two corners of the heels. And then inner thighs squeezing towards each other, bellies pulling in and engaged. And then begin to shift the weight into the right leg again, coming up onto the toe of the left foot. So plugging the right big toe into the earth, squeezing up through the inner thighs. Begin to open that left leg out to the side. Big toe still on the ground. Hands can be at your hips or out open to the sides. So we're just opening the hip here, coming into a tree posture. So left heel to the inner right shin. And then you can bring your hands into heart center. If you fall out, that's okay. Trees wave, they move, they stumble, come back together. You got this. Awesome job. Let's switch sides. So coming on out. Bring the feet together again. Find the four corners of the feet. Squeeze up through the inner thighs. Belly engaged. Shoulders down and back. Shifting the weight into the left foot. Plugging that left big toe into the ground. And then inner thighs isometrically squeezing towards each other. Begin to open that right knee out to the side. Keeping the right big toe on the ground. Hands to hips. Or hands to heart center. Just finding your balance, engaging that left big toe, the left inner thigh, the belly's extending and pulling into the spine. Try and grow your tree. See if you can extend the crown of the head, just a hair higher. Awesome. And exhale, release. You guys did it. You made it through all the balancing postures. So we're going to come on back down, stretch it out for a second, and then do some meditation. So using your blocks in front of you if you want. Inhale, arms up high. Exhale, swan dive down, flat back, bent knees, coming down into our forward fold here. Shaking head side to side. Yes and no. deep breath in and out, and then slowly, in your own time, in your own way, coming back down onto the knees to tabletop position. You can move the blocks out of the way and then come on in to an easy pose for you. Awesome. All right, so now we're going to come into our bound angle pose. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Just open the hips up a little bit more, stretch it out. Today I'm going to have some blocks underneath my legs just for a little added support. You do you. Feel what feels good for you, and just go with that. So inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, grasping shins, ankles, tops of feet. Begin to round down. Belly button pulls into the spine again. And just resting here in this posture. You guys did a lot of work, so now we're going to balance that out. See what I did there? With some rest. Awesome. And then begin to shift the weight back into the sits bones and round up one vertebrae at a time. Take your hands to the outside of your knees. Let's pull the knees back together, and we'll do a forward bend, a seated forward bend before we lie down. So inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, hands to legs, floor, ankles, feet, whatever feels good for you. You can keep a bend in the knees to help support that lower back, or you can keep the legs straight. Whatever feels good for you here. Just finding a little bit of rest in this posture. One more deep inhale and exhale. And then slowly rounding up one vertebrae at a time. All right, we're going to come into our Shavasana. I'm going to use my blanket for a pillow. I'm going to put my bolster underneath my knees just to give my lower back a little bit of support. And slowly just making my way down. Meet you down here, whatever way you want to come. And just letting the body rest and relax. I'm going to give you a minute or two of silence before we meet in our meditation. Just breathing, allowing your body to sink into the floor and relax and rest. I'm going to give you the option here to stay in Shavasana for your guided meditation, or to slowly roll onto your side and then up to a seated meditation. Either one, whatever you're feeling today, is fine with me. So I'm going to come on up for a seated meditation. Stay lying, sit up, whatever feels good for you. Take a moment to get comfortable, strong, stable. All right, let's get started with our guided meditation. So we're going to bring our awareness gently to the breath. Just noticing the flow of air in and out through the nose. Nice and gentle. Noticing if you can lengthen the breath. Noticing the difference between the inhale and the exhale. Maybe one is longer than the other. Maybe the air is cooler on the inhale or exhale. Just trying to pay attention here, noticing what you feel. And if you're distracted by noises or body sensations, just come on back to the breath. Noticing the flow of air in and out through the nose, quieting the mind, quieting the body. And now see if in your mind's eye you can bring together an image of an area in your life that is out of balance. Just notice what physical sensations come up with that image. And as you continue to breathe in and out gently, explore if maybe there's one thing that you could be willing to let go of that may help bring balance to that area of your life. Or maybe you can think of a value or a priority that you can bring to the forefront of your mind. And if you focus on that value or priority, that may begin to bring balance into your life in that area. Just noticing how it feels in your body when you imagine letting go or you imagine bringing a value into focus that may bring back balance. Let's take a couple more deep breaths here, bringing the focus back to the breath. Noticing that anchor to the ground in the sits bones or the feet, or if you're lying down, any points of contact between the body and the floor. And then slowly begin to open your eyes. Great job, guys. Great class. Hoping that you can find balance throughout your life as you move forward through this day, through the week. It's always in flux, no judgment either way. If you're lying down, make your way onto your side and then slowly press up to a seated position. Meet us up here for our quote and our last breath together. All right, today's quote is shockingly about balance. I really like it though. The key to keeping your balance is knowing when you've lost it. It's an anonymous author. It's so true, and yoga really helps us check in with ourselves and quiet the mind and body to notice where there's imbalances. All right, guys, great job. Let me know how you're doing in the comments section. And then let's end our class with one more deep breath together. So hands out wide. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Sealing in your practice. Bowing the head slightly, giving yourself a half smile here. Thanking yourself for the amazing work that you're doing on and off the mat. The light in me acknowledges and salutes the light in each of you. Namaste.